Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, aka BGFH, and I am back for a kind of a quick channel update. There's a few things that I wanted to talk about quickly. So, I did do, I believe, another channel update in early July, somewhere around the 4th of July weekend. But it's been a really busy month. There's been a lot going on, a lot of good things, a couple not so good things. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a few quick updates because there's a lot of stuff around the corner and things I wanted to chat about really quick. So, with that being said, here we go. First thing, first topic I really don't want to talk about. It's not something I really wanted to talk about. I shouldn't have to talk about. But at the same time, I feel like I have to talk about it. I have to say something. So, I've been kind of ramping up my participation in social media the last few years, Twitter especially. Like I said, I have a Facebook account, but I just really don't care. I don't use it. I've actually contemplated getting rid of it several times, and I just really haven't. I just kind of let it just sit there. But I have found Twitter, especially over the last few years, to be a very helpful tool. Like, it's been entertaining, it's been informative. I follow assistive technology companies, game developers, people in the accessibility community, tech accessibility, game accessibility, VR, any number of things. Like, I have a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of different types of people and companies and different things that I follow. And I've met some really great people via Twitter. I've gotten to participate in awesome opportunities through Twitter. Just through me doing my YouTube channel and, people seeing things and maybe talking about it on Twitter, or, being asked to participate in ID24 or GAConf. Those are things. It's been awesome. And for a while I've heard just several people, just constantly saying, oh yeah, Twitter's just this, just like other parts of the internet, Twitter's just this kind of cesspool of just people just behaving horribly. And, I'm like, well, I've generally had really good luck with it. I've had pretty much a great Twitter experience so far. But I do see what people, I do see people, posting like their experiences, and they're not having such a good time. And I've seen it more and more lately. I've seen it with people that I follow, companies that I follow, game companies, game developers, just straight up people. Even some of my followers, some of my YouTube followers, some of my Twitter followers. I've been hearing more of this conversation. And basically what it all comes down to is, I shouldn't have to say this. I really shouldn't. But, for God's sake, like, I don't share a lot of my personal life online. I talk a lot on the channel about, technology, accessibility, gaming, VR. I'll put a few generic things that happen, work was crap this week, or I did this, or blah, blah, blah. But nothing in too much detail because, like I said, there's a whole thing of internet security. There's a lot you can do with just a little bit of information out there, about somebody. If a few basic pieces of information, people can do a lot of damage with that. And I've just never been the type of person to really, air a lot of my personal life, in public. I just have no desire to. And there's a lot of other people who have no desire to either. So, I've been seeing a lot more people, like I said, some of my followers, some of the people that I follow, their experiences of, just getting harassed, like getting asked really inappropriate questions, just people out of the blue asking just really stupid, like, I guess the best word I could say is inappropriate questions. And it's like, I got to pry into your personal life, or blah, blah, blah. There's just so many things that I've kind of been hearing from a few people. And that should not be. If you're doing that, you know who you are. You should know who you are. Stop it. If people don't want to share their personal life, quit bugging them. I know a few people that are actually, they really like, the networking, kind of like what I'm doing. They like what they're doing. They like what social media affords them. I mean, think about it, especially if you have a disability. Maybe you're in a situation where you can't travel. Maybe you're in a situation where you can't get out as much, or you live, like I said, you live somewhere where I grew up, where the closest place you were going to get to was several miles away, and so you were kind of stuck. And with the powers of the internet, it's really easy to find people on the internet that have the same interests as you, and you can learn from people and all that kind of stuff. But then, like I said, you get these people that just kind of hound. Like I said, I mean, I get even myself, I'll get tweets or messages from people like repeatedly asking the same question: will you do this? Will you do this? Will you do this? And like I answer them and I say, I mean, I will try to get to it as soon as I can, and thank you for their request, but chill out a little bit. But then, like I said, you get other people who are getting these messages, prying into their, like I said, I've seen tweets from people saying, man, I was just asked the most inappropriate question. I was, asked, like, all these creepy stalker people are asking me about things they really shouldn't, whether it's relationships, whether it's like just, trying to hit on somebody, or whether it's just stuff information. Like, why would you ask that? I mean, would you just, well, I guess I know the answer to that. Some people, yes, they probably would say it in real life, but a lot of people think they can get away with things just because, hey, you're behind a keyboard, you're behind, a lot of times you're behind a kind of a fake username. So it's like, oh, I can just ask this person some creepy as hell question and get away with it. So just saying, would you want to be repeatedly hounded? Would you want to stop using, let's say, a service, stop using the internet or stop using social media or whatever it is, just because of a few people that just won't shut up? Knock it off. Don't do it. I mean, that's really all I have to say. I mean, like I said, I don't want to mention specifics. I don't want to mention, because like I said, I've seen it from several people lately. I actually just saw a conversation this morning from somebody about one of the things that was happening to them. So, again, you got, you know who you are, or you should know who you are. If they don't want to share their personal life, if like like I said, myself, if I'm out there and you look at my past tweets, you look at my Twitter account and you see, oh, I post about technology, I post about VR, I post about all kinds of weird nerdy stuff, odds are, if I don't tweet a lot about my personal life, chances are I'm probably not going to talk about that. And odds are other people aren't going to either. So, just, think about what you would want to be, think about how you would want to be treated. And, quit being creepy. I mean, it's just, I don't know why people think they can just do that on the internet. But, because like I said, a lot of the people that I've met online, like I said, just really cool game developers and advocates and technology companies, and just, it's a valuable resource. And overall, I've been enjoying, like I said, mainly Twitter, but pick your social media of choice or choices. Don't ruin it for everyone else. I mean, like I said, I shouldn't have to say that. I really shouldn't, but I feel like I have to. So you know who you are. You should know who you are. Knock it off. That being said, on to some more pleasant news. Now we'll get to the actual updates, get the bad crap out of the way first. Thank you to everybody who has been jumping on board, following me on Twitter at BGFH79, or following me on the YouTube channel that we're looking at here, youtube.com/illegally cited, of course. A couple of people tuning into the Mixer streams, mixer.com/BGFH. We are on the YouTube channel. We are just over 1660 subscribers. So again, I can't remember when we hit 1600. but it couldn't have been no more than a month or a couple months ago, tops. So, I mean, hey, 50 subscribers. I mean, I'm still small peanuts in comparison to a lot of your bigger channels out there. But hey, we're growing. We're starting to get some, Illegally Cited is kind of starting to hopefully develop a decent reputation in the area of game accessibility, VR accessibility. That's kind of what I'm shooting for here. And so, like I said, thank you to everybody who has liked the videos and subscribed and retweeted some of my stuff. And there's been, I've actually learned about a few PC and iOS accessible games fairly recently from people, messages through Twitter or YouTube comments, or I've even received a couple of emails. So thank you for those tips. And like I said, I will repeat this. Like I said, I will definitely try to be covering more accessible games. I already have a few videos recorded, but I'm not going to just keep hammering down the blindfold games, because I know there's like 80 of them or 120 of them by now. And I mean, like I said, they're free. I mean, yes, you can pay money for them, but if a certain game kind of stands out and catches my attention, sure, I will definitely cover it. But I mean, like I said, these things are free. The interfaces are largely the same. I mean, if you get a word game or a card game, I mean, some of them, like the pinball, is a little bit different interface, but you kind of know what you're getting. You have the coins, you have the different packs for different songs, like your blindfold song name, that kind of a thing. So there's some variation, but I mean, largely, they're pretty similar. So I mean, I'll use those for filler sometimes, but I want to give other developers attention as well. Both on, computer and on mobile. But, I can't cover accessible games nonstop either, because there's just not that many of them. I could record a video every single day of a mainstream game and not run out of content for years. So, that stuff I can keep on coming. So I will. That's why I do a lot more low vision spotlights and things like that than I do accessible games, is because there's just not that many out there, and I'm not going to cover every single iteration of 5-card poker. It's just not going to happen. If there's a poker game that's really fun, or with some really unique feature or excellent presentation or something like that, sure, I'll gladly cover it. But, I'm not going to cover every little single thing just because, hey, it's out there. Because I don't want to, even if I'm covering accessible games or accessible devices or whatever, I don't want to just have filler content for the sake of filler either. So it's just kind of walking that balance. So like I said, there's a lot of stuff coming up on the channel. I do have some accessible games coming. I do have 1 or 2 hardware reviews coming. Probably, I'm guessing tomorrow will be another hardware review. I'm thinking I might release that, and some of you will probably really like that. We're going to have some more mainstream games coming out. We're going to have some more mainstream games that have accessibility features in them. The past week, I've been waiting to talk about this game for a long time. If you haven't watched my previous couple of videos here, for Eagle Island, and I do want to make a correction. In the Spotlight video, I had mentioned that the Eagle Island, the accessibility is on both the PC and the Switch version. I was kindly informed by the developer. Thank you, Pixelnix. Thank you for the clarification. The Switch version does not actually have the screen reader portion. It has a lot of the other accessibility features, but it does not have the screen reader portion because the game actually does use some sort of Windows API that it can hook into, and that's how it's providing the speech via the Microsoft David voice. So that's how it's doing that. So currently it is the PC version that is accessible. I saw another person post on Twitter the other day after he had clarified that, saying, they're like, hey, if this comes to Xbox or PlayStation 4, those consoles do have, especially the Xbox, where it's more, widely supported. Maybe you could hook into those because, like I said, narrator is on the Xbox just like it is in Windows 10. So I'm thinking that one, if it came out to the Xbox One, I'm thinking maybe that could be, the text to speech could be supported pretty well on that. But if you have not watched those videos, like I said, I did a Mixer stream where I played through basically the first couple hours of the game, and I showed you a little bit of a teaser on where I'm stuck. Blasted fire level. I really got to go back and try to brute force my way through that. But then on the other video, the actual spotlight video for Eagle Island, I did kind of do a deeper dive into all of its various accessibility features. And there's a lot. There's controller remapping, there's the text to speech, there's visual, there's like game speed, just all kinds of things. Go check out the video. That's a great example. And this is one guy. I think he might have had somebody else help with the music. This is a guy the one guy developed this game, and I'm, like I said, I'm not just praising it because of the accessibility features. It's a damn fun game. It's it's an action 2D platformer. With a unique kind of a theme. You got your kind of your character. You're chucking your owl buddy out to kill enemies. It's this bright, colorful world, and the controls are just solid. The mechanics are solid. It's a fun game that also just happens to have a hell of a lot of accessibility features in it. And so, again, kudos to PixelNix, because you made a heck of a game there, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And he's even supporting it post-launch. Like, people are requesting things, and he's already kind of thinking about, oh, okay, well, we'll give you this choice. Well, sure, we can probably make that work. So he's supporting it after launch. Great game. Like I said, I just did a review of the Surface Go. If you're in for a really nice, small, portable, entry-level Windows tablet laptop-esque thing, Surface Go, not too shabby. There's a couple little caveats and a couple little things to note about it, but again, check out that review if you want to see more about that. Bloodstained not Curse of the Moon, that was last year's spin-off. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, I did a stream for that. I did a spotlight video for it. So again, there's been a lot of good games coming out in the last month or so, and that is not stopping. Like I said, I've got a hardware review coming probably tomorrow. I've got some VR stuff I want to do, but I've got some mainstream games. I've got some accessible games. Not sure when it's coming out, but I do know. I'm hoping that a little game I covered in kind of an early form, an accessible game, mind you. Shout out to Joe. How's it going, Joe? Joe Quirk. Circus Master's Revenge. I covered one of the early betas of it. When was that? Earlier this year? Late last year? Hell, I don't even remember. But, I covered that in early access, or like I keep calling it early access. It's kind of like the generic computer term now. But I covered an early build of it, and hopefully within the next few days, we should be seeing that in the App Store. I'm hoping. Like I said, I'm not sure when, but I know they're at the very, very close to getting this thing out. And I'm just as excited to play it as the rest of you, because I loved Audio Defense Zombie Arena, and to have something that's even kind of close to that or similar to that, both with that unique kind of a theme. I love the kind of twisted circus master and all his little, freaks and minions and stuff. I kind of like that sort of a deal. So really curious to see where the story goes beyond. And like I said, I've been kind of helping out off and on with the game, but, past what I kind of showed you or talked about in that early build, I don't really know much more than you guys do. So I'm just as curious to see what kind of craziness is going to ensue with that. So, once that comes out, I will definitely try to be covering that on the channel. Of course, later this week, we've got Wolfenstein Youngblood. Probably going to stream that this weekend. Probably Saturday, if I have to guess. Probably doing a spotlight video of that as well at some point, but really looking forward to that because I love me some id shooters. I love me some. Actually, this one isn't actually id, but it's Bethesda and company. They've got a pretty good group going over there. They got id and they got God. I'm trying to remember who is it that makes the Wolfenstein. Like who did Wolfenstein 1 and 2? Because a couple years ago? Was that a couple years ago already? Wow. Wolfenstein 2 was just, I'm sorry, but that game was batshit insane. I mean, the gameplay was kind of, there were some parts that could have been a little bit better, but it was a fun game. But there are some parts in that story that I didn't even cover in the Spotlight video later on. That game gets so crazy ridiculous that I'm genuinely curious to see what this Youngblood is going to be, because you're actually playing as BJ Blazkowicz's daughters. Because you can play it in co-op if you wanted to, but you have these two daughters that they're going to go rescue Dad, and so kind of curious. Yeah, I've heard the people that attended E3 have heard really good things about it. So looking forward to that. Also in the last week, I didn't think it would happen, but a little game came out today, as a matter of fact. Not sure when I'm going to get to it, but a little game that I tweeted about in the past called Tetris Effect. Yeah, remember that VR Tetris game that was exclusive to the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation VR? Well, it's on PC now. It is on PC, it is through the Epic Games Store, and it does support the Oculus Rift. So I, at some point, am going to have to get that going and try some really experiential Tetris. I've heard some really good things about it, and I'm really, really hoping that, it looked like when I saw the original versions, they had a way where you could kind of zoom into the board a little bit so it wasn't so far away. I'm just hoping that the playboard, the playfield, is going to be close enough to where, I will be able to see it in VR effectively enough, because I really, really, really want to love this game. I really do want to play it. So regardless of what happens, I'm going to try to do a video of that sometime in the next couple of weeks. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff. I've got a lot of stuff already recorded, a lot of stuff to record, a lot of stuff that is coming out that I want to check out. Yeah, just all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I would say Tetris Effect and Wolfenstein are my main two immediate ones that I want to cover. So a couple things that I'm not sure that I'm really going to be able to do much as far as covering. I'll talk about so a little thing earlier this week happened, or actually last week now. Actually, yeah, a week ago. A little thing called Amazon Prime Day happened. Grr. There was a hell of a deal on a PlayStation 4. I was gonna wait for the PlayStation 5, assuming that it would have backward compatibility, because there's a lot of single-player exclusive games that are on the PS4 that I genuinely would like to play. But then I saw this deal they had for $250. They had a 1 terabyte PS4 Slim with Marvel's Spider-Man, which I really wanted to play, and a copy of Horizon Zero Dawn, basically the complete definitive edition version. I'm like, ooh, I remember seeing that and almost biting on that when it was just the console and Spider-Man last fall on Black Friday. Now they actually threw in another game for it, so yeah, alright, I bought a PS4. I bought a PS4 Slim. I did hook it up this weekend, but aside from doing updates and trying to wait an eon for Spider-Man to download, I haven't actually gotten to play it yet. But I have very, very briefly explored the accessibility features that are built into the PlayStation 4, and there are some good things. They do have some visual settings. They have like a high contrast. They have larger text option. They have, different themes that you can choose from, so you can kind of make your own high contrast or different themes to make it easier to see. They do have a magnifier that you can toggle on. I believe you hit like the PlayStation button and the square button, I think, to turn it on. And it kind of works basically like the Switch one does, where you can turn it on and then you can pan around the screen. Although it doesn't really smooth pan. It kind of moves in little chunks, so it's a little less... It's not quite as good as I would like, but, whatever. And they do have text-to-speech. They do have a sort of a screen reader for it. However, and I've only put, probably 10 minutes into it since I actually got everything up and running. But what I will say is that the PS4, and from what I've heard from others, Sony has not really updated it much in the past few years. So I really hope they step things up in the PS5, or whatever they're going to call it, because it's a start. But I've already found in the very short time that I've been playing it, I found that there's a lot of places that text-to-speech is not supported. I went into the system menu. I was poking around that, and a lot of it read. But when you go into system update, you would hear a message. Oh, text-to-speech not supported here. I forget what others. One or two other things I went into in the dashboard. Text-to-speech not supported here. I'm like, yeah. When I went to my games, I could read like, oh, I have Spider-Man. I have, I don't know, one other thing that I had in there. And I went to go into the Spider-Man thing so I could go download it, because I redeemed the code that came with my system on the PlayStation website. So then I could just go download it on my console. Well, I found the Spider-Man downloadable, but then once you went into that to go download it again, what did it say? Text-to-speech has been is disabled for this section, or whatever. Is not supported here. So I'm glad it's there. It will help. I'm sure there are a lot of places where it will very much be helpful, but I would say it's nowhere near even as supported as Narrator is on the Xbox at this point. I've heard other people say things about different areas of the PlayStation Store on the console that some stuff does or does not speak. So that's something I will give you guys an update on more later as I learn more of it. I will give you an update probably here, and I will also give you an update on the A4G podcast. So cheap plug there. Cheap plug to the A4G podcast. That's a podcast that Riley Rose Frazee started a little while ago, and I joined in early June. And we do have new episodes on every Sunday, except this last Sunday, because Anchor, I don't know, we had a recent update, and she hosts it, and she'll call me, and then I'll join the call, and then we'll basically record. But Anchor is kind of broken, or I don't know what's going on, because I'll try, she'll try to call. I won't get the call. You can invite somebody via text message. Tried that, and it'll say, hey, join me on Anchor. And nope, it'll say join me on Anchor, but it doesn't give the link half the time. So unfortunately, technical issues aside, we have not gotten this past weekend's A4G out. I don't know if we're going to try to either tonight or yet sometime in the next day or so, or if we're just going to push it off and try to do it again this week. We're trying not to miss weeks, because again, you want to maintain your viewers or your listeners. You want to do a consistent, regular schedule, and believe me, we tried. Even the episode before that, we had some trouble. And it took us a better part of a half an hour or better just to fight with the app and such. So I don't know if it was a recent update that seemed to break things, because for the first few weeks it worked beautifully. But yes, eventually, hopefully, you should get some more A4G. And like I said, that's another place where I can talk about my experiences with the PlayStation 4 in audio form. My last thing that I wanted to talk about is a very, very cool thing, and I hope it takes off. So, over the past week or so, I've been seeing a few different things on Twitter. See, and again, this is why I love Twitter. This is why I love, you take your media of choice, be it Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, any number of any number of social media. Going back to my original topic, but this is why, like, I love being involved, and I don't want other people to have to miss out either. Because in the last week or so, I've been in a really interesting conversation with somebody. Shout out. I just went stupid. Adam, I believe. I forget how to say your last name. I apologize. But he made a couple of Mario Maker 2 levels for the Switch that they're specifically designed to be played blindfolded or by someone who is blind. And I didn't get around to checking them out right away when he posted them. But like I think it was Thursday, I did finally get a chance to download them onto my Switch. I played them and then I downloaded them so I would have them locally. And they're cool. So basically what he did, in Mario Maker 2, you can have all your little level pieces that you can put together to build your level. But then you also have a separate little toolbar that has a whole bunch of sounds in it. And you can basically put the sounds like on a certain portion of the level. So as Mario runs over that part, it'll make a noise. Or you can attach it to, let's say, like an enemy or an object. So like, when I get to a pipe or if I get to something, it'll make a noise. So what he did is he came up with a few kind of basic sounds to tie to actions that you should perform at that point. So you can jump straight. There's a sound as you're walking to the right, as you hear this little chunk sound, to jump straight up. It's like, oh, that means jump straight up from where I am. And that might be, okay, then I'm going to hit a question mark or grab a coin. You might hear another sound that says, hey, jump forward, because either there's a pit or there's an enemy. There's a different little musical cue that'll start, and that'll say, hey, run, because you're going to need to there was one level where you actually ran under a whole bunch of those thwomps. And then both levels, at the end of this running sequence, there would be that other sound that says, hey, jump forward. And so you had to have enough momentum. You had to be running in order to jump a long pit. So, but yeah, so he did a couple levels. I played them and I got inspired after I got home from work on Friday. I built my own level. Yeah. So, I built it, and he did try it. There's a couple parts that are a little bit hard, but both of us did get through it. And you have to test them before you're allowed to upload them. And I did. And as I was uploading it, I was testing it. I played it with my eyes closed, essentially, so I could not see. I wanted to make sure that I could beat it. And even doing that, I had to stop, and I'm like, well, this isn't quite what I wanted. So, as I was in the upload process or the testing process, I found something that wasn't working quite right, and I would go back and, okay, well, let me go back and fix this. Let me make it more clear. So I did do a lot of iteration on little bits and pieces of it. So I am going to try to do more in the future. I haven't had a brainstorm as to what other kind of mechanic I might want to do, but like I said, I've had a very interesting conversation on Twitter with the developer of those levels, and we've kind of been batting around a couple of ideas back and forth for like different ways to convey sound or to convey to the player what to do. And our hope is that we kind of tried to revive. There's a hashtag. It's hashtag Blind Mario. All one word. Hashtag Blind Mario. And we're kind of going to be using this to basically encourage. People want to look for those levels. They can find our level codes on Twitter that way. And, if other people make levels like this, we would love for it to catch on. And if let's say they post it to social media, hashtag Blind Mario, just like other people make these masochistic, brutal levels, just like people are making all these little switch on off levels, these little slope levels, or things that are in the new game, these 20-second speedrun levels. Well, maybe there could be a whole subset of these Mario Maker 2 levels that are blind accessible. I would love to see that. And God forbid, Nintendo's not really, they're doing a little bit but not so much under accessibility. Let's say that the hashtag blind Mario thing catches on and Nintendo hears, oh, hey, people are making levels for blind people. That's cool, that's great, but yeah, I suppose they actually have to have someone help them to get into said level. So, maybe we ought to add some sort of, maybe we got to step up our game and catch up and maybe add some more accessibility, maybe some text-to-speech for our menus on our Switch, or on our in our menus for Mario Maker 2 patched in later. I don't know, but I mean, if it catches on even a little at all, it it could only be good. It could only mean good things. So, yeah, hashtag blind Mario. You can look that up on Twitter, and like I said, you can. I have posted all of the codes. I've retweeted the ones that he did. I tweeted mine, and I finally updated illegally-cited.com. Illegally-cited.com. I have a new blog entry that has kind of a lot of what I've talked about here today on the video, but at the end of it, it does have a few of these Mario Maker codes, because like I said, the other thing we're trying to do is we're both trying to use the same audio cues, so that let's say a blind person wants to play a lot of these levels that are made by me or him or whoever else decides to join us. If we kind of come up with these common effects that are built into the game, oh, this means jump up, this means jump forward. That way, if everyone starts using those sound effects in that manner, then everybody who plays it, they don't have to relearn a new sound scheme for every new Mario level. So that's kind of why we're tying it into, hey, this hashtag blind Mario level. If you're going to do that, maybe try to please use these types of sounds that we've established, just to make it easier on the player. So, that's kind of a thing that we're trying to do, and I don't know if or when it'll happen. But, I just out of the blue, I'm like, you know what, we'll go for broke. I did private message or DM Patrick Klepek on Twitter, because I've had a couple of quick conversations with him in the past about game accessibility. And, him being really, a big Mario Maker supporter. Mario Maker 1, he did you had the big battle with Dan Reichert a couple years ago. And then he does his Mario Maker mornings. Well, he started that out again with Mario Maker 2 over the past couple of weeks. And so I invited him to say, hey, you want some unique types of levels? A couple people and I are trying to make some levels that can be played blindfolded. You up for it? And he's like, sure. And so I sent him the codes, and like I said, follow me on Twitter if he does. He archives these Mario Maker mornings to his YouTube channel, and so if I find out that he has indeed played them, and he gets the thoughts on them, I will definitely post them via Twitter so you guys can watch those levels. I would love to direct feed record me playing them myself, but I just don't have the equipment to do that right now, so you'll have to live vicariously through somebody else. But just know that they are there, and you can get the codes. Like I said, you can, illegally-cited.com has been updated. There's a new blog entry. And under the projects page, I have also added, let's just go there really fast. I know there's no graphics yet. It's just a dead simple page, but I can go to projects. And all of these, all of my, I've been on other different podcasts and different things like that. So, I was on the Brandon Cole's podcast talking about VR in the last couple of weeks. I was on the Blind Bargains cast talking about E3 again. So, I've just been updating all of my different works and appearances and things like that. So, you want to check that out, you want to listen to me babble some more somewhere else, go for it. You can find me there. And then, like I said, the blog, there you go. Down here, boom, at the end, you got your, you got a few level codes for Mario Maker 2. Check those out. But yeah, so again, really, really busy doing videos, testing some games, a couple I can't really talk about yet. Just busy at work, other stuff going on in my life. July's been kind of insane. It's been kind of ridiculous, not going to lie. But again, like I said, just going back, don't be dumb, with social media. Don't harass people. Don't ask inappropriate questions. Knock it off. Let's keep it enjoyable for everybody. But yeah, there's a lot to look forward to on the channel, on Mixer, all that stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, mixer.com/BGFH, illegally-cited.com. You can look up the A4G podcast on Anchor or other various podcasting sources, although not Overcast yet. Anyway, but it's getting there. Like I said, we're doing it. Hopefully we can get going again, and technical issues aside, we'll be able to keep going on Sundays. But that's all the places that you can find me for now. Again, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I will chat with you guys again later.